another video of Live with the Wards, where we talk all things marriage and military.
If you guys want to continue seeing more content, make sure you like and subscribe.
Guys, how are y'all doing? It is Saturday. I'm so glad it's the weekend. I will put a little disclaimer. We do have a guest with us who's out and about. So if you see a cat just like run across really fast,
that's what he does.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
He's very hyper.
Crackhead.
Like, he doesn't even need catnip. Like, it's just
him.
It's just him. So just a little disclaimer there. But we'd love to know how you guys' weekend is going. We're having a pretty good weekend so far, I would say. How was your week, babe? How was your week?
Long, but getting rewarded with a long weekend thanks to Christopher Columbus. So, can't complain.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a little bit of a long week. I am kind of still in my week. I've got like one more assignment to do, and then I can really enjoy my weekend. But of course, I got to take a break so we can make this video, because of course, like, I can do that later. But anyway, yeah, guys, drop us a comment below. Let us know how your week is going. Let's see. What are we doing today, babe?
We're finishing up our 3-part series.
Yes. I feel like time has just flown.
Yeah.
And we definitely, if you guys haven't checked out our last 2 videos of the series, please do. So you're not like, what are they talking about? This is like the last video? Like, what's going on? So check out those 2. And then we'll see you guys in this one. But of course, before we do anything, we have to do our woke quotes. Alrighty.
This week, it's going to read, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make.
Yes. He's like, the love you take.
Gotta emphasize.
No, I definitely would emphasize that. I'm going to shoot it to you. What's your first opinions on this one?
I mean, like, anything you want in life, what you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you don't give all your effort and you smoke and joke, you're not going to get the best results. And you can't be mad at yourself because you are controlling what you're doing. And it directly applies to your marriage, your friendships, anything that you want. You have to put in the time, effort, sweat, tears, blood, all of it,
yeah,
to get the results that you want.
Yeah, no, I second that for sure. I think you hit that one on the head for sure. I guess like the only things I would add there for sure is kind of just like in relation to marriage specifically, and I love how you made that even just about life in general, because that is a life lesson for sure as well. But I also feel like, with marriage, it's like when I'm fueling you, when I'm feeding you that love, you're going to push it out and I'm going to receive it back. So the more I give you, the more passionate it is, the more genuine it is, the more gentle it is, I'm going to receive all of that back. It's like a vessel, whatever you put in is what you're going to get out, So that's my little bit about it, and I'll say that. But everything you said was perfect. I completely agree with all of that. So yeah, you guys let us know down below what that quote means to you. We'd love to have your opinions on it. But I think that one was a really good one this week. What do you think? Do you think that one was a good one? Or?
It's short, but the message is there.
Yeah.
It's not very deep, but it's like it's not a deep. You have to super think hard about it, but it can really change the way you approach something and goals that you have for yourself.
Yeah, no, I definitely think this one, like you said, it is short, but it packs a punch. So yeah. I definitely agree. Okay, here we go. Let's get into our episode. Super excited. Okay, post-marriage. So this is after the marriage, after you said I do, after you ate the cake, and my brides, you've walked down the aisle in them gorgeous dresses. This is after that has happened. So, what is the first thing we should do?
And we did hint at it.
Yeah, we did hint at it a little bit in our last video.
You gotta turn in that marriage certificate.
Yeah, guys, I mean, it's pretty black and white, but if you don't turn that in, you're not legally married.
Yeah.
So,
unfortunately.
Yeah, like, just because it gets signed, if you don't do anything with it, doesn't count. And on top of that, it will expire. And you gotta go do it again.
I don't think you want to.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you're not going to redo the wedding.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Loaded,
yeah, no. Yeah, unless you're loaded. Yeah. Unless you're loaded. No, yeah, no, please turn that in. One good pointer. What was the other pointer that you should do? Oh yeah, take a photo. No, not take a photo of license. What am I saying? Have a photo of whoever is marrying you guys signing it. I actually had no idea about that until our pastor who married us actually let me know that beforehand, that it was a really good idea to get a picture of him signing it and like with us in the photo as well. I guess that's just like a good precautionary measure, just in case, if anything, you have evidence that it was being signed by said person, just in case. And it never hurts to be like extra careful, you know. So yeah, that is number one.
And also, and it's going to depend per state and if you guys move out of state, but when you do turn it in, it's going to take some time to get back to you.
Oh, yeah,
especially
that's right.
if you, like, we moved from Texas to Arizona, so it had to ship all the way to Arizona. So it was out of our hands for a good minute, but it was a little nerve-wracking, but they'll get it to you.
Yeah, no.
Just be patient.
Oh yeah, you have to have patience. I think for us it took 3 weeks. Was it 2? Was it 3?
Around 2-3.
It was less than a month. I can say that for sure.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because we needed our marriage license for the military, so like I could, like, all the paperwork on the military side could get filled out, you know, and I could be like, it's proven that, you know, we're married and stuff for the military purposes. And like we had a set day that we were gonna go do everything, and we were just praying that our marriage license was in the mail, because we were like, oh my gosh, like we really hope it's there. And lucky enough, it was there in the mail. So yeah, but I would definitely say get that going as soon as possible. Especially if you're military, and we'll dive into that more, but like if you're military, get that thing gone. Like seriously, get it. And that's my last point I'll say. Don't mail it in. Go up there to the county and physically put it in their hands. That way you're not waiting for them to receive it, and then on top of that, waiting for them to mail it out. Go physically put it in their hands, so all they have to do is, and I think they give you a copy. I believe I had they give you a copy. It's not the original, it is a copy. Especially with the military, they always want the original and stuff, but it never hurts to have your copies as well. But like, put it in their hands, okay? Like, please, you'll thank me later. Like, that's the best thing to do. Don't mail it in.
Yeah, it also prevents like possibly getting lost in the mail.
Yeah, a lot of things.
By cutting down one mail run.
Right, exactly, yeah. You guys go up there. No, Theo, no. Hey, Theo. Hey. He's like, you guys will probably see the camera shake. He like definitely tried to take us out. Theo, we're trying to make a video here, dude. Okay. We're going to keep going and pray that he doesn't and he's visiting us. Hi, Theo.
Just ignore him.
Yeah, guys, just anyway. Come here, buddy. Hi, sweetie. What's number 2? Sorry about that, guys.
Changing your name.
Changing your name. Yes. Obviously this pertains to my girlies out there. My missus. I know, like, that's kind of the first thing, especially like with IDs, driver's license, like it's all a thing. The first thing you want to do to change your name, though, is you want to go to the Social Security office and they will change your name. It is not, matter of fact, I don't think I paid anything to change my name.
Recall.
I didn't pay anything to change your name. Like when you change your name, you don't have to pay for it. If you try to change your name back, however, that's when you'll get charged for it. Obviously, you have options like, you can hyphenate your name. You can just take, your husband's last name. Should I put my opinion on this one?
It's our YouTube.
It's our YouTube. So if you don't want my opinion on this, go ahead and skip to the next point. But I'm just going to put this out here. I feel like when it comes to the decision of should I have my name hyphenated, should I not? For me, it was a very black and white decision, because I feel like when you marry someone, when you marry your husband, you guys are creating your own family and you're coming under another headship. You're leaving home to become a wife. You're leaving family to become, a part of a new family and create a new one. So with that said, you should completely leave and take that person's name. I feel like when names are hyphenated and you're still keeping both, it's kind of just like, I'm here and I'm here. It doesn't give very much like full, complete turnover, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's the first sign of full devotion, in my opinion, once you get married. Like, in my opinion, I'm not bashing anybody out there who has a hyphenated name. There are plenty other reasons for people to hyphenate their name for legal reasons and things like that. But I'm saying if none of that applies to you and you're like, I don't know which one to do, like, what's your take on it? I definitely feel that you should just take your husband's full name. Because, and now there's a dog barking. Oh my God. Y'all are gonna be so mad at us. I'm sorry, y'all. We're trying.
That's if they can hear.
Yeah, that's if y'all can hear the dogs. But anyway, I feel like you come under a new headship and you should take your husband's name if you're like indecisive about that. You're always gonna have your maiden name. That's another thing. Your maiden name is always and forever gonna be there. Like, it's always gonna be there. So take your husband's name. In my opinion, that's the advice I would give for that. That's my little tidbit. I'm done. Okay.
The next thing is, it's having a game plan, but we're gonna talk about like a civilian game plan and then a military game plan.
Yeah, because there's
some differences.
There's definitely some differences there.
Civilians.
Okay, we'll start with civilians. When we talk about game plan, there are kind of 3 sections that we really hit on. First is your living situation. So talking about that, obviously it's like, once you guys are married, and sometimes you're living with that person beforehand. And if you are, boom, that's checked off your list. But if not, that's kind of where you really want to think about, like, okay, where are we going to live? Are we going to live in an apartment? Are we going to live in a house? Are we moving out of state? Are we staying here? If you're staying where you are, then it makes it a lot easier. And to be quite honest with you, you can probably start planning that stuff even before you get, like, married. Like, even before, which I guess this whole, all of these videos are primarily to do before, of course. But, you can start looking at apartments. The area you guys want to live in. If you're going into a house, like, it's good to look at school districts and things like that. If you want to have a family. So those are all things to consider when it comes to that living situation. So yeah, that's just a tidbit on that. It's just like, where are you going to live? I mean, it's pretty black and white. The second thing that we usually talk about is
how are you going to pay for that living?
Yeah. Jobs. J-O-B. What jobs are you going to have? Again, if you already have that lined up, you're way ahead of the game. But, if you're moving to a new area, then you probably won't have that same job, if you're moving states. So you kind of want to plan those things out.
Yeah, you got to try to stay ahead of everything. But I mean, worst case scenario, you just put it together. I mean, it's tough because you're young. You don't have a savings to your name. You don't have job experience to your name. So it can be difficult because we've found it where we've just had to put our heads down and just get after it. And, maybe that's something you have to do, and it might suck, but when you're young and in love, you gotta work for what you want.
Theo, you're unfocusing. Okay, there you go, guys. And again, like, our videos, this episode is really for our couples out there who maybe don't have it all, and they're trying to
and just don't
get off the ground and don't have a game plan. So if you're like, girl, we already got all this done, hey, I'm very happy for you. God bless you. We're very happy that you guys are in that situation, but I don't want anyone who maybe not financially set well to feel like they just can't do it, That's just a little disclaimer there. But I feel like with jobs, nowadays there's so much stuff online. There's so many different, platforms that you can search jobs up online, and look at their start dates and get interviews and stuff going. So I would really say that that's probably the the way to go. It's like, start looking online ahead of time. If you have a specific profession that you're looking for, and and sorry guys, he keeps unfocusing our camera, and we're trying. Okay, there we go. If you have like a specific, there he goes again. Okay, if you have a specific place that you're gonna live, like, you can go ahead and start looking at jobs in that area, online and stuff like that, and make some phone calls. Like, questions are going to be your best friend. Don't ever stop asking questions. Literally, like, even when you're old, like, ask questions. That's how you're gonna get your answers. So yeah, that's like my tidbit on jobs.
Yeah, and then the last thing is just having future goals planned, trying to figure out, I don't want to work at a McDonald's for the rest of my life. What do I want to do? Do I want to get this degree and go for this job and, meet this amount of savings or...
Yeah, and then how do we do that as a couple?
Exactly.
How do we reach that goal as a couple? So that's the thing, is like, of course we have passions in life outside of one another that we want to pursue. And, you have to work together to make sure all of that can align and work well together. And it can. Nothing is impossible. So I would definitely just kind of like sit down and ask each other, like, what's our plan? Like, what do you want to do?
Like, establish my personal goals, your personal goals.
Right, and how do we...
What is our goals together? Like, we, want to take a family vacation, whatever they can be, you just have to establish and then set a plan to reach your goals. It's simple, but can be difficult.
Yeah, and you take it one step at a time. Don't freak out. Don't feel like you have to have all the answers. You don't. Put one foot in front of the other and take it from there. One step at a time. Where we're going to live, right? Okay, what job are you going to get? What job am I going to get? Maybe one of us already has one, and that's great, And then what are our goals? Maybe I want a degree. Maybe you don't, or what have you. So, sorry, our camera keeps going in and out, and our cat's not helping. He looks so handsome, though. Like, we're trying here. I don't know. Is it?
I can push him on. I'm going to push him on.
Wait. I think he's... Okay. Okay, guys, there we go. So, yeah, that's our little tidbit on that for the civilian side. Now we're going to move to the military side.
The military side, it makes it easier, but like a little bit more complicated, because it depends on where you're at in your military experience. Like, if you're just coming out of boot camp, if you're at this certain level of training, or if you're just into the, as we call it, the fleet, where you're actually at your job, where you're supposed to be. I'll just speak on my experience. I went home for the first time because I was COVID. So 7 months of straight training. And then I went home and got engaged to her, and then went to my permanent duty station. So I was living in the barracks, and we were planning everything long distance. When we finally got married, I went on leave, came back. I stayed in the barracks until we had to wait for the marriage license because we knew it was going to take some time. But once we knew it was getting closer, we had to mail it to... How did we do that? Because we turned it in, but how did they know what address? Because we didn't have this apartment yet.
No, so the marriage license went to his mailbox on base. So he had a
That's right. I had a P.O. box.
Everybody has a P.O. box on base.
You're right.
And that's where we had them mail it to, because while he was in the midst of that happening, I was already, to be quite honest, I was already looking for places for us to stay prior to us getting married, because we were in a situation where we already knew his duty station. It's a lot easier when you already know where that person's going to be, because that's your starting point, is like where we're going to be. So I would say wouldn't you say like the first thing is like find out your duty station, or like, because you really can't make any moves until that happens. And it's not like you can find out your duty station, but I wouldn't make any moving situations until
because you're going to be in a student status because you're in the pipeline of training. So you're not like you're not able to. Oh, let's live on base while I'm at this school, and it's
Right, because that's not where
you're
you're.
a student.
Yeah, you're not. That's not your permanent duty station of where you're actually gonna be working. So I would say like that's the number one for our military families out there. Don't make any moves until you know where you're moving to.
Yeah.
That's probably number one.
But that marriage certificate is your ticket out, because you have to check out of the barracks. Once you do that, you can then go to your local IPAC. They are your administration center that handles your pay and everything. I brought my wife. We took marriage certificate, her social, and her birth certificate.
I burn the whole.
Yes.
I burn the whole thing.
And they all have to be originals.
Yeah, and they all have to be originals. No copies, guys. So like, you need your originals of everything. I burn everything I had.
So once you do that, the military gives you an allotted amount of money to pay for your housing, and that starts the day that your marriage certificate is dated.
Yes. I'm just gonna back up a little bit. For my ladies or for my men, whoever
Spouses.
is the spouse.
Yeah.
While you are waiting, for that marriage certificate to go on the other end in the mail on the base or what have you, once you know where your spouse is going to be stationed, go ahead and start thinking, are we going to live on the base? Are we going to live off the base? The way you determine that, go ahead and pick up that phone. Get on the phone with the housing for the base. They will be able to tell you the waiting time. Like, oh, like this is how long our wait list is. This is how long, this is what we have available. This is what we don't. While you're doing that, you can also call around to apartments in that area and say, hey, what's your availability looking like for moving?
Yeah.
Because they will have, like most apartments have openings. Usually they require like a 30-day, 60-day notice for when people are moving out. So they usually will know pretty quickly, like, hey, we have something, hey, we don't. That's exactly what I did. And like I said, I did this prior to us having our marriage license and whatnot, because I already knew where he was going to be stationed. Because once he was in the schoolhouse, there gets to a certain point at the end where they let you know where you're going. So once that was happening, he proposed to me and I knew that we were doing this. I said, let me go ahead and start looking at apartments. And I was like 3-4 months in advance. And, so I already had like my list of pricings and things like that, just in case we need to go that route. And that's exactly what we ended up doing.
Yeah. And the whole base versus off base thing, it's obviously personal choice. The base has pros and cons. There's gonna be a lot of early mornings in your time. So it's, man, if you can save on some sleep, because it's a 15-minute drive instead of a 45, depending on how far you are. If you forget something, it's a lot easier to go home, going home for lunch. But in my eyes, it was like I can never turn off the military because I'm constantly surrounded by it.
Yeah.
And I personally didn't want to. She didn't want to.
Yeah, and I didn't
simple.
want that for him either. We had that discussion. I was like, when you're not at work, I want you to fully not be at work so you can regroup and get yourself, back together in an environment that is just like completely away from work whatsoever. And I feel like that has benefited you a ton. So yeah, that's definitely for the living situation for our military families out there. Find out where the duty station is. And then once you have that, obviously that's where you need to mail the marriage license. In the meantime, for my spouses, go ahead and start looking. Do we want to live on base or do we want to live out in town? For us, we live in a town. So, and then as far as, I think the next one is jobs, right? Is the next one?
I mean, so
jobs.
We didn't get to finish because we had to backtrack, but they'll start an amount for your housing. You'll also receive an amount for food. It's technically only for one person, and obviously if you have a spouse plus a kid, it's never going to be enough, but it is something.
It contributes.
And then with that, I mean, you can, if you live on base, regardless of, like, if you're really high up and you're making, like, random number, $3,000 in housing allowance, $3,000, $1,000, they're gonna take it all. Whereas out in town, if the apartment's $1,000 but I get paid $1,500, I pocket the $500. So there's the pros and cons of what's gonna best suit your family and your needs.
Yeah.
But the military does help provide stability, because I know for sure that we have a place to stay and food in our fridge, and they gonna make you work for it. So be prepared, but I think it, like I said, it solves a lot of problems, but you know, it's military life. So yes, you have a roof, you have food in the fridge, but there's gonna be demanding times, and of course, but
yeah, no, that I agree. Like he said, you know, when you live out in town, just to be crystal clear here, when you live out in town, the military will pay you a housing fund of a set amount depending on where you're located. It is different for everyone.
And your rank.
And your rank. So where you're located and rank plays two factors in that. Like, you know, California, for example, is a very expensive place to live. So the housing rates there are going to be completely different from where we are. So you know, just to make it crystal clear, they will literally deposit, that'll be part of your paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll pay, you know, your apartment's rent, and whatever's left over, you are not required to give that back or anything like that. You pocket that. You know, and you can contribute that to your fridge or your savings account or your other bills, you know. And that's what worked best for us. Everybody, you know, it's different, right? Because if you have a family with kids and stuff, you know, it probably might be best to live on base, you know, so you can be in a house, you know, with more space or what have you. If you live on base, just to reiterate, no matter how much you get paid for housing, it's not going to go in your paycheck. They keep those funds because they are providing you housing. There's a lot of things you're not paying for with housing. So just to clear that up, make that crystal clear.
And this is military with a civilian,
right?
Dual military.
That's a whole
different ballgame.
I
can explain it if somebody needs help.
Yeah,
you can hit me up. I am admin, so I know the details of what needs to happen. But man, sometimes I'm jealous because they can get paid a lot of money. They play their cards right.
They play their cards right.
They don't ever see each other.
No.
Sometimes. Yeah. Busy schedules. But.
Yeah, there's always the other shoe drops, right? So yeah, but yes, like he said, he is admin. So if you guys have some more questions specific to this or specific to the process, he's your guy. Like, no kidding. Like, he knows pretty much everything about it. So he's your guy. What is the next one? Jobs for the military? Is it jobs?
Yeah. So obviously, the person in the military, you already know your job.
You're set.
You're set. For the spouses, again, it's going to depend on your area for like out in town jobs, but there is resources on base that can assist you with finding jobs. There are jobs on base working at the MCX or the daycare center. There's not many jobs here where I'm stationed just because it's one of the smaller bases in the Marine Corps. But on, you know, Pendleton, where you got these, huge bases, there's multiple job opportunities. Plus, working at home can also be for stay-at-home moms if they're trying to get back into the workforce or whatever your situation is. There's always military resources for everything. Jobs. Everything you can think
of. School, jobs, childcare, like the military
team building.
Yeah, they will provide you resources. So, you know, if you just really have no direction and you're like, I don't know my up from my down, left from right, like I don't know, someone will help you on base to be able to navigate that. They will even help you create a resume. Like, they will help you, and they always have these, I get emails all the time for our base specifically about the different meetings they're having regarding careers and how to get started. So that's really good. But if you're like, I don't want anything to do with the military as a spouse other than my partner being there, I just want to support them, I don't want anything else to do with that, I'm with you. I understand. You do not have to get jobs in the military. There is no rule that civilians have to do that. So you can work anywhere. You can do whatever you want. You can work from home. You can work at McDonald's. You can do whatever you want. Please don't feel like we're saying you have to go the military route. We just want you to know that as a spouse, you are also included in the assistance given by military, because you are a big part in helping that family stay together and helping that, that soldier, that Marine, that Air Forceman, and you're helping them show up and be the best they can, because you are a huge part. You play a huge part. So there are resources for you.
As well as with school,
yeah,
you utilize it,
absolutely. So. There is, your spouse has a GI Bill, and that'll be a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
I feel like, because there are so many. And if you guys want us to do a video on the educational part, let me know, and we will do one, because that's just like a whole different bracket. But there are resources. You can use a GI Bill. There's grants. There's a lot of things that they offer. So that's just like in a nutshell. They do have that, and you can go to school for completely free, as well as your military spouse, of course. So that's the part about that. What was the third part? We have living, we have jobs, and just the game plan.
Future goals.
Yeah, your future goals. The reason we separate those from civilian, because the military can be very demanding. So those future goals may have looked one way, but in the reality of it, those definitely can change. Because let me just speak from my perspective. I am here to support my husband. That's not saying that I've neglected my goals. I've let you guys know I am a full-time college student. I'm also pursuing teaching right now. And I will be able to do that wherever we go. And I haven't been able, haven't had to make my dreams smaller by any means necessary. However, I've had to be flexible and adaptable to what he has going on in the military. That's what you're signing on for. I'm just going to be very transparent here. That's what you're signing on for when you become a military spouse. Marriage is already something, and then military on top of it, which if you guys have gotten this far, I'm sure you know this. But it's going to demand not just a lot of your partner, the person who's in the military, but a lot of you. So first and foremost, I support him. I support, wherever we got to go, his job, things like that. But at the same time, I have my goals, and we make sure that I'm able to have those, and complete those as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like having a second life. You have the military and you have your wife. And it's like, I have to give my time here, and then I have to make sure she gets her time.
And it's just important, my spouses, to have patience and understanding, okay, and flexibility. It will all work. I know that it can be hard. It can be hard sometimes, but it's not impossible. And when it comes to your goals, you're not selfish for having them. I wouldn't say bite off too much that you can't chew, of course, but there can be a balance. You just gotta find it, and it's gonna look different for everyone. A big thing for us is we don't have children, except for Theo. And he can be a handful sometimes. I know you cat owners out there probably know what I'm talking about. And he's orange at that, and you guys have seen a little bit in this video, and he's finally trying to take a nap. Painful. So we it's a little bit easier for us because we don't have that added responsibility. So we aren't parents yet, so we are able to, pursue those things.
Have free time.
Yeah. We just have more time to pursue our, future goals. And we have some goals that are together, just because he's in the military and I'm not, doesn't mean like, oh, I have these goals, he has this, and we have nothing in common. What we're doing right now is a goal of ours, to help others. That's been a goal. So, we make time out of both of our schedules to be able to do that. So when it comes to your goals, I would say just sit down, talk about it.
Make them
known, because they do exist and they are important, and create a plan from there. And it'll all be fine.
It'll work itself out.
Yep. I think that's everything. Have we covered pretty much everything? Yeah.
Damn, we've taken 30 minutes of
our
life.
I think we've taken enough time from you guys. We've taken almost half an hour. This is our longest video yet.
You get me talking about the military.
Yeah.
It's all I know, so I just can't stop.
No, you're fine. No, I think the military could be its own segment by itself. We try to bring both together, but I'm telling you, there could be a whole segment.
There's just
Like, you could have your
layers.
own
It's
thing.
peeling in on you.
Yeah.
You just keep
It's
going.
you just keep going. But yeah. But no, guys, we are definitely happy that we were able to give you this advice. We're glad that you joined us here for our last episode of this series. Again, if you want to see more of our content, make sure you
like and subscribe.
like and subscribe, please. But other than that, we hope you guys enjoy your weekend. We are excited for our next video. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.